All right, so as you can see from the title, I've got the OnePlus 7 Pro. Normally, this wouldn't be my setup when starting a video, but I wanted to make things a little different and just show you just kind of I guess a day in the life. It's not going to really be a day in the life, but something like that. But here you go. SIM card is officially in the OnePlus 7 Pro. It's been in there for like 3 days now. 94%, 9:32 a.m. We're going to see how well this phone lasts, the battery life, the performance, and everything like that. I already got a couple of things that I do want to talk about with the OnePlus 7 Pro. But yeah, I switched from the Galaxy S24 to the 7 Pro. This is like, I'll be straightforward. This is my all-time favorite device, especially when it came out in 2019. Like, this was ahead of the competition, in my opinion. I think it still is in terms of design, and yes, I do have a crack right here. I have no idea how I got that. Nonetheless, like, the pop-up mechanical camera was awesome. It has a full screen. I really like it. But yeah, I decided to pull it out of my stash of phones right there. Yeah, don't mind this. I really got to do some cleaning and organizing, but nonetheless, we're going to test it out. And just come along with me on this, I guess, journey or this video to see how well this OnePlus 7 Pro performs in 2024. So while using the OnePlus 7 Pro, honestly, my favorite smartphone of all time, it still is a 5-year-old device. This came out in 2019, and when it was released, I picked it up right away. I used this as my main device for quite a long time until I switched to the OnePlus 8T and then other devices afterwards. But my SIM is back in here, and there are some things that I want to discuss, some things that I did notice by using this as my main device. It's still smooth, albeit there are some hiccups here and there when using the actual day-to-day software. It's currently running Android 11, and we're getting Android 15 later this year. Now, while every app that I used is still supported, it's up to date right now, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next year or two or a couple of years, apps start to drop support for Android 11. They probably even started to drop support for older Android, like 10 and older, but maybe Android 11 might be on that list. I don't know, but nonetheless, I still love the software on here. It still feels like that old Oxygen OS. It feels as stock as it can get. If you've used the new Oxygen OS, it's become its own user interface. Like, it's become its own type of thing. It doesn't really feel like a stock Android look anymore. But this still does retain that. Now, here's the thing. Snapdragon 855, I believe, is the chipset being used in here, and it's showing its age. Now, it has 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage, but it's still showing its age. It takes like an extra second or two to load things, whether that be on Google Chrome or watch YouTube videos, search things and whatnot. It's still a little like extra 2-3 seconds or slower, compared to the Galaxy S24 Ultra, which that was the device I was using before I switched to the OnePlus 7 Pro. And in addition, I don't have the 5G model. I have the LTE, so I'm not getting those 5G speeds. And yes, it does also feel slower in that aspect as well. Another thing that I did notice is when I try to text and type, I'll type and it'll wait, and then it'll just type everything real quick. Like, so it's a couple seconds slower than the actual keyboard when I'm typing. So I don't know. That's also something I noticed. It has been getting really annoying actually the past couple of days. So I have to wait for the keyboard to catch up to type everything that I just inputted and then input again. It's not, it's kind of annoying. Battery life isn't the greatest. Now, it has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and I'll put in 2024 standards, it's like mediocre. I mean, I need to charge this by mid-afternoon. It gets pretty warm to the touch since I am a heavy user and I'm using this for everything. By mid-afternoon, I do need to plug this in charge, and 30 watts, I believe this was 30 watts. While it was fast at the time, like now it's just like, we got devices 65 watts, 80 watts, 100 watts. Like, this isn't fast. Even my Galaxy S24 Ultra is faster. It feels faster too, 45 watts max charging speeds for that. Like, this is obviously, and it makes sense because this is a much older flagship. And yes, I shouldn't be comparing it, but I'm just sharing my thoughts about what I am going through with the 7 Pro coming from a flagship and sharing my thoughts about this to see if you can really still use a device from 2019 or even older. And I know there are some people who hold their phones on for 5, 6, 7 years. So a shout out to them, because, you know, this for me, obviously making tech and reviewing tech, these things really do stick out, and I don't know how much longer I can use the OnePlus 7 Pro as my main device. But nonetheless, though, I still love the full display. It has no camera cutout. It's got a curved display, so it feels very futuristic. And while I'm not a fan of curved displays, I can still really appreciate this overall design. The mechanical pop-up camera right here, so there you go. It's just like, it's great. And even 5 years later, it still holds up very well. Now, speakers also do get fairly loud, but yeah, of course, the speaker quality has improved in 5 years, so they're not going to be the best. And with the cameras, and that's a huge thing with a lot of people, is what about the camera quality? I'll be honest, I didn't take too many pictures, but I did for this video. And the couple times I did, I think they're all right. I'm not a phone camera guy. Like, I'm not really taking too many photos, but after I took these photos, I kind of missed the cameras on the S24 Ultra, and I've gotten used to some of the features with that phone, like the 100x zoom and whatnot. So this doesn't have it, but it still has a decent camera setup, and I'm still putting it out there. If this is your phone and you want to start making content, by all means, the best camera is the one in your pocket, which is your smartphone. So whether you have a OnePlus or a different Android device or an iPhone, whatever it is, you gotta get started, because that's how I started my channel. I started with the LG G3 and I was able to grow it from there. But those are the main things I noticed with this device. I kind of wish it did support Android 14, Android 15 going on, but I recently did tweet out to OnePlus if they made this device with 2024 hardware, like specs, like Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, maybe throw in 16 gigs of RAM, half terabyte of storage, whatever it is, have Android 14, 15 on board, faster charging, whatever, then I do think this would be, like, it would sell very, very well. I think this was the pinnacle of OnePlus, like peak OnePlus design. And I'm gonna actually pick up my OnePlus 12 real quick. So this is pretty much what you get with a 5-year difference. And I gotta say, OnePlus 12, and I've used the OnePlus 10 Pro, I've used the OnePlus 11 and the OnePlus 12, and I gotta say, this is as close as I felt with the experience to the OnePlus 7 Pro. When I use the OnePlus 12, I feel like, okay, wow, this is like, I feel like I'm using the OnePlus 7 Pro. This is as close as I feel like we've gotten to the experience with the 7 Pro. And I also did use the OnePlus Open, and I think I'm gonna actually switch back to that, because that, in my opinion, is still the best foldable out on the market here in the US. But in 5 years, this is what we got. But imagine the 7 Pro in a 2024 hardware standard with, you know, updated specs. I think this would be really amazing. But here's the final thing about this. Eventually, I'm going to switch back to a more modern smartphone, but I think I would still be able to use this, especially if I wasn't just so involved in making videos like this and didn't have a passion for tech. I'd probably be using this device 5 years later, because it still holds up really well. Those things, everything I just mentioned about, like the downsides, is expected to happen, but there's still some really good things about this display quality, the build quality, the design, first of all, is phenomenal. Yes, I did crack this. I have no idea how I got a huge crack, like right here. It's like a spider web, but this design is futuristic. Absolutely love it. Speakers are really good. It still charges, you know, pretty decently fast. Android feels really stock here. The stock Android look and feel is something that I personally prefer. Yeah, so I'm gonna switch back. And if you have OnePlus 7 Pro, let me know your comments down below. What do you think of this device? Do you think OnePlus should release something like this 5 years later with just updated specs? I personally would. Let me know your comments down below. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, definitely be sure to super down the like button, comment down below. Best of all, share this video because it really does help out the channel a lot. Will help push my content out to more people. That's been it for me, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.